Yep.
Okay. Silence themselves and their phones.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Groveland's 2026 Candidates Night. I am pleased to introduce our moderator for the evening, Lynn Brodsky of the League of Women Voters, who will guide us through tonight's discussion. As we begin, please keep in mind that the candidates here tonight are your fellow neighbors and community members. And also be sure to silence your phones, please. We appreciate your respectful engagement and thank you for taking part in this important civic process. And I will turn it over to Lynn.
So welcome to a town hall style forum to help inform Groveland voters ahead of the upcoming municipal election. This voter forum was requested by the voters of Groveland and has been organized by your town clerk, Jennifer Peterson. My name is Lynn Brodsky. I am a member of the League of Women Voters of Winchester. I have been trained as a league debate moderator and have moderated debates around Massachusetts, including the past 2 years here in Groveland. And the League of Women Voters is not sponsoring this debate, so I am here as an individual and not as a representative of the League. I do, however, bring League values of engaging in political discourse with fairness and civility, encouraging all citizens to engage in the political process and not supporting any or opposing any candidate or political party. I come here without advanced knowledge of the candidates or of the issues facing Groveland. And so we're going to start with the uncontested candidates, meaning they're running for office and they don't have an opponent. And each speaker has up to 2 minutes each. And so Melissa Baker is running for a 3-year term on the Board of Assessors. Kelly Beaton, a 3-year term on the school committee. Joe DeMori, a 1-year term as moderator. Laurel Pahowski, a 3-year term as library trustee. And not here at the table is Michael Castronellis running for cemetery commission. So you guys are on.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Lynn. Good evening. My name is Melissa Baker, and as Lynn mentioned, I am running for the open 3-year term on the Groveland Board of Assessors. I have always believed a strong community depends on people being willing to step up and serve. Since moving to Groveland in 2017, I have tried to do that in several ways. I currently serve on our finance board, our cultural council, and the Bagnell School Council. I'm also the treasurer of the Groveland Baseball League, and in the past, I have served as a den leader for Cub Scout Pack 133. Through these roles, I've had the chance to work with many people across our community, and I have seen firsthand how much our residents care about our town. Last year, Groveland faced the possibility of not being able to set its tax rate because the Board of Assessors had just one member. When that happened, I stepped up to help because I did not want to see the town put in that position. It was important to me that the work got done and the town could keep moving forward without disruption. Through that experience, I saw firsthand how important the Board of Assessors is in keeping the town running smoothly. The board ensures property assessments are fair and accurate, and that the town meets the various requirements to set the tax rate each year. It may not be the most visible role in town government, but it is a critical one. I'm running this year because I want to continue serving Groveland and help make sure we stay on track so we don't face that possibility again. I've already shown my commitment to the town and its residents, and I would be honored to continue that service as an elected member of the Board of Assessors. As such, I respectfully ask for your support. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly Beaton, and I am running for the Pentucket Regional School District School Committee seat to continue my lifelong commitment to our community. As a Pentucket alum, class of '78, and a Groveland native, I've seen our schools from every angle. As a student, the proud parent of 4 Pentucket graduates, and as an elementary teacher in the Pentucket district for 40 years, having retired in June of 2024. My career has been defined by more than just classroom instruction. I've been on the front lines of curriculum development, ensuring our students have the tools they need to succeed. I served on curriculum committees and was an integral part of the implementation of math and English language arts initiatives. Union leadership. I am the former vice president and co-president of the Pentucket Association of Teachers. As a teacher mentor, for 25 years I served as a dedicated mentor for incoming educators, providing professional and emotional support necessary for a successful transition into the classroom. Collaborative partner. I served as the co-chair of the Page School Council, bringing parents and staff together. And community advocacy, living and raising our family with my husband Bill in Groveland for over 30 years. I possess a comprehensive view of how the district operates, and I believe that my experience provides a unique and necessary perspective to the school committee. I understand the needs of our teachers, the concerns of parents and the community, and most importantly, the potential of our students. I would be honored to earn your vote on May 4th. Thank you.
Joe Demore, I'd be honored to earn your vote as well. I was on the school committee in 2007. I've been on the select board, but the thing that has been very much an interest to me and a great passion is to be involved in special projects. So I've been involved in a few special projects over the years. Way back in 2017, 14, 15, 16, in that area, I worked with a great team to reformulate our select board from 3 to 5. And we also needed to pursue a local option to home rule petition that also translated into creating a law that had to be approved by the state legislature, plus also be signed by Governor Baker. So that was an exciting project. Another great project was I worked with an amazing team to create a bylaw for our first town administrator. My third project was to be on another amazing team to hire our first town administrator. And very recently, I'm very proud that we're just about concluded with a great project with the town meeting study committee. And we're probably going to implement electronic voting next year if you so agree at the town meeting this year. So that's my passion. I've offered recently to engage in another important study committee for something that's very important to us. And I think what I'd like to do is continue in that vein. I'd like to continue to be your town moderator. We are working towards making the meeting more friendly, easier to access, more pleasing, more comfortable. And we're making some changes. You saw some big changes last year with the big screen and the suspension of reading the articles, and people seem to be a little bit more comfortable. And I look for your support to continue to make town meeting a great venue for all of our townspeople. So thank you for your support.
Hi, my name's Laurel Paholsky, and I am running for one of 3 positions on the Langley Adams Board of Trustees. I've been on the board since 2008, and during those years, I served as the chair, the vice chair, many years as secretary, and presently I'm the treasurer. While on the board, I've been active on the bylaws committee, the policy committees, the director's evaluation committees. I supported the children's programming by substituting for Story Hour when we didn't have a children's librarian and other vacancies. As a trustee, I'm resolved to support the mission of the library, focusing on the overall funding, the planning, and the setting goals. I'm very conscientious about being financially responsible, not only to the town, but also to the library. Groveland's very fortunate to have a strong and committed board. It's a board of 9 people, and we really work hard for the library. I ask you to remember to vote on voting day, and my feeling is it would be great to continue to have a full board. The other 2 candidates are not here today, but vote for them as well. I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Okay, so those are the uncontested candidates, and so we're going to have the town hall style debate. So if we could just take a brief break to get the new panel. So can the select board candidates come and seat yourselves, and Jennifer will help you with the order.
They do some kind of coin flip, but anyway. Whatever order you want us in, we'll do it. What are you making now?
Okay, everyone, we're ready to start with the select board debate. So this is going to be a town hall style debate, and this is going to be the select board with these three candidates. The order of presentation for each debate was determined in advance by a random method, and it's left, middle, right. The candidates will start by offering their opening statement of up to 2 minutes each, and then they will answer questions from the audience in rotation. And each candidate will have up to 90 seconds for each question. As we near the end of the available time for each person speaking, each candidate will, I'm sorry, I messed up. As we end the end of the available time for each debate, each candidate will have 90 seconds to rebut statements made by other candidates and make their closing remarks. And closing statements will be in the reverse order from opening statements. Timekeepers will indicate that a candidate has 30 seconds left by raising a yellow placard, and they will indicate that the candidate's time is up by raising a red placard. And we ask candidates to stay within the specified time to maintain a civil tone and to avoid making personal remarks about anyone else. And the timekeepers are Irene Thomas and Laurie LeBlanc. Thank you to both. And to ask a question, please speak clearly into the microphone right here. And please say your name and phrase your question as a question with little or no introductory commentary. And this will save time, minimize bias, and will be the best way to get an idea of the candidate's views on your issue of concern. And then the number of audience questions debated will depend on the available time. So the Select Board is the executive body for the municipal government of Groveland. The board has 5 members serving for terms of 3 years each, and the seats are up for election on a staggered basis. This year, 3 candidates are running for 2 3-year terms on the Select Board, and our goal for this part is to last up to 40 minutes. And the candidates are Adam Haywood, Jason Naves, and Kathleen Castronellis. Who would like to ask a question? Oh, the opening statements, I'm sorry. I don't know. Pardon me? Yeah, thank you.
Right.
All right, you'll keep me honest. So, Mr. Haywood, you're on.
Thank you. Hello to everyone. Thank you for taking the time to come and listen to us here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Adam Haywood. I serve as the chair of the Community Preservation Committee, the vice chair of the Finance Board, and also the Groveland representative on the Whittier Tech School Building Committee. I sat here a few years ago on candidates night when I ran for this position before, and I was asked, if you don't win, what are you going to do to help the town? So what did I do? I joined a board. I got involved. I'm happy to say under my leadership on the CPC that we have closed out several projects that were dragging on for years and recovered more than $800,000 back into the fund to be able to be spent on new projects moving forward, as well as streamlining the approach and making sure all the projects that come in can be done in a timely manner and completed as described. I'm a father of 4, 1 graduate of Whittier Tech, 3 students currently in the Pentucket system. I've been in town with my wife and I for 15 years. When we decided to move to Groveland, we decided to move to Groveland because of what Groveland was and the character that the town had and that small town feel. And that's something that I would look to continue should I be elected. So again, I appreciate your time. I look forward to your questions, and I ask for your vote on May 4th.
Thank you. Mr. Naves, who is running as an incumbent.
Well, good evening. I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight. I know many of you know me as a dog park guy, and you're right. I love my dogs. I love our park. But what really matters is why I got involved in that effort in the first place. I helped start the initiative because I wanted to be part of the solution, enhancing something meaningful to Groveland, making it more functional, and utilizing a private fund source to minimize tax dollars being spent. That experience sparked something bigger. It led me to become more deeply involved in our community and local government. Since then, I've made a priority to listen, really listen to residents, what concerns them and what ideas they have for improving our town. During that time, I've worked to take those ideas and turn them into action, bring them forward, advocating for them, and doing my best to make a positive impact for Groveland. Most recently by introducing the Right to Farm bylaw, which enhances the state's right to farm laws with the goal of protecting small local hobby farmers, the very foundation and character of Groveland. In the near future, I look forward to working diligently to aid in the development of an affordable trust bylaw that is essential to take control of affordable requirements with smart developments and keeping Groveland in a position to stop another 200-unit apartment complex from forcing their way into Groveland. So with that, I ask you for your vote so that I can continue to serve this community that we all love and continue working to keep Groveland small and true to its character. Thank you.
And next, Ms. Castronellis, who also is running as an incumbent.
Yes. Good evening, and thank you to everyone for coming out for candidates night. Thank you also to the League of Women Voters, to you for hosting us. I appreciate that effort. I am Kathleen Castronellis, and I'm running for re-election to the Select Board. My husband, Mike, and I, we moved to Groveland 35 years ago. We raised our children, Jackie, Michael, and Andrew here, and they all graduated from the Pentucket school system. Groveland is where we built our family, and I'm committed to preserving what makes this town so special. Before teaching, I worked for Boston Edison doing cost of service studies and rate design. Following that, I've been teaching for 22 years at Whittier Votech High School, a role which I love. On the Select Board, I've worked to protect our rural character while strengthening town finances and services. I've helped create new contracts that protect essential services and stay within the budget. Through disciplined budgeting, we've avoided costly overrides and improved our financial position. Good government requires thoughtful planning and hard work. I focus on maintaining essential services, preserving rural character, and expanding recreational activities so that all residents can enjoy our town. We are a small town with a big heart, and I'm honored to serve. It's been my pleasure to serve the last term, and I hope to have your vote and your support on the election day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So who would like to ask the first question? I was going to ask you, but I didn't want to go that far.
Last night, I attended an amazing meeting of the Select Board. So thankful for your service and the good work that you've all been doing. Adam, in full disclosure, spearheaded an amazing program, an effort to help us understand how we could possibly implement an affordable housing commission, which would have sweeping authority to handle up to $2 million, and also bring to our community the public policy necessary to be able to bring in affordable housing, which is a national mandate, a state mandate, a regional mandate, and I think perhaps locally as well. However, the board decided not to put that article on the warrant this year. So my question to you is, what do you see needs to happen? How should we change the approach, or what processes should we put in place to bring that issue back next year and successfully place it on the warrant for town meeting?
Okay, so thank you. So, Mr. Naves, you get to start in 90 seconds.
I think the biggest thing that was missing from this attempt at the affordable trust was the public information sessions that a lot of towns have done to help, one, educate the public so they understand what's happening. So there's not a lot of talk about things that can't possibly happen. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. And also, I would change maybe the appointment of the people that are on the trust. I know that there was a lot of talk about it at our meeting. And I think those are probably the two biggest things that on that particular trust that need to change. Otherwise, I thought it was a very well-written and a very productive thing that they had pushed forward. I know that it wasn't going to be funded this year. So without it being funded, I figured it would be a good idea to refine it and push forward for the following year to not only have the bylaw to protect the town, but also to fund it so it could actually move forward.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Castronellis?
Yes, thank you. So the Affordable Housing Trust is an issue that we have spoken of in town many times. In fact, back in the day with Dr. Dark on the board, they did actually do an affordable housing study. I think that was 2010. We're out of date now on that type of study. So we do need the community input. We do have a Merrimack Valley Planning Commission study from about 8 months ago that does kind of describe what affordable housing is and what it isn't, because I think the public needs to understand how it can be used and where it could be put. We want to have the public input, and we want to open that trust board so that we can gain the kind of applicants that would have the correct backgrounds, because this is a very important step for the town, to put trustees in charge of an account that could go as high as $2 million. And to help guide that, we need a plan. You can't just put people on a trust board and say, okay, do your job. What job do we want them to do? So the goal for the next year, if reelected, will be to gain the public input on this whole issue, to show everybody the maps of where there could be or could not be this type of development. How else could the monies be used? We haven't explored that yet. So certainly there's a lot of work to do before we put the bylaw in place.
Thank you. Mr. Haywood?
Thank you. Just to point of clarification, I did not dream up this bylaw. This bylaw was a project that was funded by the CPC in 2025. The town paid a consultant $20,000 to develop this bylaw. We amended it as we saw fit as a CPC committee and then put it forward to the select board. As is their purview, they decided they did not want it on the warrant and they would like to make edits to it. I'm not opposed to any of those edits. We felt strongly that the makeup of the board needed to be spelled out in the bylaw, and that was something that the committee definitely wanted. If the select board sees otherwise, then so be it. The goal is not to build affordable housing in every nook and cranny in Groveland. The goal of the project is to open up funds that are available, $1 million through the CPA affordable housing category and $800,000 through the inclusionary zoning money, to start developing some programs to, we could do a down payment assistance where someone who grew up in Groveland their whole life and wants to buy a house, we can assist them in getting a house so they can stay in the town they grew up in. We were talking about a senior home repair program to allow seniors to age in place, things like that. It's not strictly about building new housing. That wasn't the intent. The intent was to open up the monies to see what we could do and let the board decide what it is that they wanted to do with it.
Okay, thank you. And so I would encourage anyone else to come up and ask a question, and anyone who asked a question can have a chance to ask a second question once everyone who wants to speak has had their turn. So I encourage you guys to come up and ask a question. Here, come on up. Right here, right here. Oh, I thought you wanted to ask the question. Okay.
As a longtime resident of Groveland, I was just wondering, what are we gonna do about Groveland Square? It looks like it needs some help.
Okay, so Ms. Castronellis,
I'm assuming by your question, you're referring to the gas station that's privately owned at the square, or is there another concern?
do you want to come and clarify your question at the
Yeah.
mic? Just
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's just because the recording may not pick you up.
Is that better?
Yes.
Well, the gas station certainly, and then also the way the parking and it's like an expressway coming off the bridge, which needs repair right now. There's a lot of bumps out there. But coming down 113 and up 97, there seems to be a lack of parking there. That it seems like it's not a square anymore. It's more like a throughway. And I don't know, maybe we need an old-fashioned square again. So maybe.
Great. Well, yes, yeah, we all wish we could turn back the clock and stop the traffic that is cutting through our town. We have become a cut-through, and we've had one traffic study done at the intersection of Salem and Washington, and I believe they recorded over 6,000 cars in a day. So it's clearly not our residents going back and forth. So the issue of the traffic in our town isn't just, I think, at the town square. I think we're seeing it on several of the major roadways. So I have been speaking with the police chief. We are talking about different measures to calm down this traffic, to protect our rural town. We know the children in town ride their bicycles across town. And so we need to take care on that. And I believe the towns around us have done similar measures. So I would expect going forward in the next year that you will see some measures taken to slow down the traffic and restore some of the sense of rural community.
Mr. Haywood?
Thank you. So obviously, we can't wave a magic wand and make more parking space there, but the green space is nice downtown. You see the kids playing down there, riding their bikes. We do have the municipal lot up the ways that, parking is available, and I'd hate to see us, transform that area into a parking lot. As far as the gas station on the corner, not much we can do about that as a private-owned building. Love to be able to maybe purchase it and do something with it, but, obviously, more information is needed before committing to anything of that nature. But to echo what Kathy said, she made a good point with the amount of traffic going through town, and anything we can do to address that and to focus energies on keeping it under control. I know there is a lot of, particularly I do Washington Street and Salem Street, and that intersection is terrible, with a lot of speeding and whatnot. So, anything that we could assist in getting the police involved or what have you would be very helpful.
Mr. Naves?
Yes, being a cut-through town is difficult when it comes to traffic, especially when you look at the amount of growth that Haverhill's had in the last year alone, with almost 1,100 new apartments that have come online. And they all have to get to 95, and a lot of them go through us and on 97 to get there. But I think when you look at what really calms down traffic, it's the amount of businesses that we have in the area. You don't see people traveling at high rates of speed through downtown Haverhill. It's because of how thickly the businesses are. So it's a bit of a catch-22. Do we turn the Groveland Square into a more business-oriented place where people try to do business and allow that to slow down the traffic? It would help our tax base. It would help improve the character of a small town and a square. So those are the things that I know that I've talked about in the past, and it's difficult to do when you have so many residential areas in the downtown square. As far as the parking, we do have the residential lot, and the only other option in terms of increasing the parking would be to dip into Elm Park, which I've made that suggestion before and got a lot of feedback from the community members that that was not an option. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So who would like to ask the next question? Here you are.
Hello. Thank you all for running, by the way. I think it speaks volumes that we have 3 great candidates willing to do this totally thankless job. And now to make it really thankless.
Thank you.
A recent phenomenon, I can't remember if it's the last 1 or 2 years, was the removal of the line item budget from the town meeting warrant. I was wondering what your feelings are on this, since everybody likes to talk about transparency, and whether you support using the 5 lines that total a budget or the line item budget, and why. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, could you say your name, and then anybody who asks subsequent questions also say your name?
Greg LeBrecq.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, Mr. Haywood.
Yes, so this year, we transitioned to a new software where it's all, the line item budget, line by line, is available online. I don't particularly mind it not being on the handout at town meeting, going through it line by line, because it is available for everyone to look at. I don't think anybody's trying to hide anything, but I think maybe trying to streamline the process. And I think we made a good step this year with the online version of it, and to be able to dive into it and look at anything you want. I've been able to, I spent a ton of time being on the finance board running through that, and it's a very well thought out and very well designed web application that you're able to access it through.
Mr. Naves?
Yeah, I concur. I mean, the biggest tool that everybody has is being able to go online at their leisure when they have time available to go through it. If you're seeing a budget that's that long for the first time at a meeting and trying to make a decision on it, it becomes very difficult to do. So having it posted online is something that they've always done, but this new tool makes it a lot easier and a lot more transparent to see and to actually understand what you're looking at. And because of that, it allows us to be a little bit more friendly in terms of our meetings and the time that we spend at our meetings, and which is all geared towards keeping our attendance up, so we always have quorum with room to spare, so we can move forward and be productive. Thank you.
And Ms. Castronellis?
Yes, the line item information is available to the public. I believe we also make it available in hard copy at the town meeting. But we do have like an extremely long warrant these days, over 30 articles. So to add more pages to it, we were already going through the line item budget by department before we made the transition to this. So this is just one more step to make the town meeting flow a little easier, so you don't have to look at every expense line item and ask. I mean, the overview will be presented. Folks will know if there's a position being added. You'll know that we've balanced the budget and we're not going to have an override to fund it. So other than that, with only 2.5% increase available, there's not a lot of changes in the line item budget from year to year. I'll be really honest with you. They don't have a lot of money to work with. So making it more efficient this way and making the town meeting a little more user-friendly and allowing people a little more time on some of the articles and bylaws, I think that's a critical step.
Okay, thank you. Next question? You don't need to wait for me. You all can just line up here and just say your name and ask your question.
Jan Dempsey, and I too want to thank you all for being public servants. It means a lot to all of us. So recently, the Select Board and Town Administrator have been discussing evicting 3 families from the residences at VC Park simultaneously. A lot of us feel more work and research could and should be done to avoid this situation. However, if it does happen, empty buildings will be a liability. There will be ongoing costs for utilities, park operations, and repairs and improvements during the months before the units are re-rented. Since there will be no rental income, how do you envision getting the money for funding this process, and how will this impact the taxpayers?
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Naves?
Yeah, that's a very sore topic and very hard to comprehend. But unfortunately, with the rules and the laws that are in place, there's certain steps that haven't been followed. That the 30B process is one of the largest steps, and without following those processes, it puts the town at great risk for civil penalties and other lawsuits from the state. I know that we recently had a very extensive show for DCS, who controls the use of that land, because they didn't want us to have any rental units there at all. And had they made that decision, it would not be a discussion at all. But fortunately, after we went through that long display, they made it very clear that they could have it as long as those people participated in VC, and that we could display that the 30B process was being followed. And a part of that 30B process being followed is allowing these people to have, everybody to have a fair access to those apartments. And that's very unfortunate. It's a step that has to happen.
Ms. Castronellis?
Yes, it's a really good question. And as you know, one of my priorities is sound fiscal management. If for some reason the revolving account for VZ Park did not have funds, the town is still liable for the bills, which is why I voted to table this notice until we have a plan, because you need to have a plan for these rentals to go forward. Now, the state has already issued a letter where they're allowing for that to happen. We don't have the plan yet for doing that, and certainly any and all should be allowed to apply, including those that are still residing there. So the process should be fair, it should be open, and keeping in mind that this is how the money is received to keep the VZ Park running with minimal financial impact on town funds. If you stop that revolving fund, we still have to pay those bills. That doesn't stop it, okay? So let's get a plan together and let's do this properly with consideration for all who are involved in this process. And the first step is taking it to the town meeting and getting permission from town meeting to rent these units. And that's the article that's on the town meeting warrant. Once we have that permission, then we can develop the plan. But nobody is now, to my knowledge, being thrown out of those apartments until the select board reconsiders after town meeting develops a plan. Thank you.
Mr. Haywood?
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in. I don't think it was by any negligence, just kind of happenstance. It's been this way for 20 years, so that's the way we're going to keep doing it. But unfortunately, the time to correct it is now that it's been brought to our attention. It's incredibly unfortunate for the people that are living there, but in order to follow the proper procurement laws, there has to be an option for everyone to apply to get in there. And by not doing so, puts the town at substantial risk for lawsuits, insurance, all kinds of issues. So I feel for the people that are, potentially going to be displaced, but we are taking the proper steps. The first thing is to get the permission to rent those units at town meeting, and it's on the warrant. I think it's number 1 and number 2 on the warrant. And then, the process will get developed as to how they are transitioned and follow the proper procurement process. I feel the option that was presented previously to let them run out the lease and then go vacate and go through the proper process was fair. Again, it's an incredibly unfortunate position we find ourselves in, but it's something that has to be dealt with, and it's a hard decision that's going to have to be made.
Thank you. So the podium is open.
I'll echo Patrick Molina. I'll echo everyone's sentiments about, it takes some guts to run for an elected position, especially, when you're going to be the voice or you want to be the voice of the town and the voice to everyone, outwardly. My question is, when the feedback from the town comes back, whether it's through study results or surveys, or it's, the master plan dictates from 2023, or, wherever the source comes, people come to your office hours and tell you what, Grovelanders are thinking. When you personally think differently, how do you square how you act as a select board member when your personal feelings are a little different than your professional your responsibility as a select board member? If you have an example, that'd be great too.
Okay, Ms. Castronellis?
Yes, well, one of the biggest responsibilities that a select board member carries is to implement the votes of the annual town meeting. That's how we run our town. We put our budget together there. So no matter what my personal feelings are on the articles or my recommendations are on the articles and the budget, whatever the town meeting votes, it's then my responsibility to ensure that that is implemented and that it's transparent and the voters can see what they say they want to vote for. This is what we deliver. Sometimes we have to go back again to them because we didn't explain it well enough, but in the interim, you have a directive that you're supposed to follow. So we are run by the most democratic form of government, the open town meeting. I still feel it's a very good process because anybody can go and anybody can be heard. And that makes it really important to go to the meeting, but it also makes it worthwhile if you go once in a while because you get to say what you think. You don't have to sit back and let somebody else speak for you. So I do feel that you have to implement what the voters say they want.
Okay, Mr. Haywood?
Thank you. Excellent question. I'm going to just harken back to my time on the CPC, which is something that I wasn't really a fan of when I first got on it. But I wanted to make some changes, and I feel like after we made the changes, now I can wholeheartedly support it. But that's something I went into that I wasn't really sure of. And I don't think the town was sure of it. We had it on the ballot to get rid of it. But I think, working with people that have differing opinions, having constructive debate, and, coming to a compromise, I think it worked out. And I think the CPC, what's happened in the past 2 years is a fantastic example of that.
And Mr. Naves?
Well, I think the one thing that people often remind me of is that we work for the people. And that's something that we always have to remember. So even if I disagree with what the people want, it's something that I have to do. And a good example of that is probably 36 Garrison Street. They wanted to send a letter to the state with a certain list of items that were on it. I didn't believe those items were relevant to the state's decision. Mr. Tarr also said that they weren't relevant to the state's decision. But we pushed that forward because that's what the people wanted us to do. I think it's important to remember that we work for the people and that we have to move with that in mind, whether we agree with it or not.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent answers.
Anybody else want to ask a question? Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie Bartelt. My question is, how can we overcome the disconnect between state and local governments? Would you be willing to collaborate with state legislators to fix Chapter 70, for example, et cetera?
Okay, Mr. Haywood?
I think this is another excellent question, by the way. This is a very big thing. We should be working with our state, local, federal elected officials nonstop for the school funding, the special ed funding. Even take it one step further, if you look at Valley Screw, and we should be putting pressure on all our elected officials to get the EPA involved, to get that cleaned up, torn down, and usable again. That's what this job is, as far as I'm concerned, is working with anybody you can work with to get the funds and the help that we need to accomplish these goals. We're a small town, we don't have unlimited money, we can't do it on our own. So we have no choice but to work with everybody and anybody that we can.
Mr. Naves?
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize that we don't always have the choice of who we work with moving forward. And it's very important to try to stay as neutral as possible when you're dealing with our two-party system, just because we have to deal with both Republicans and Democrats when it comes to finding funding, when it comes to taking care of this Chapter 70. I know that I went to the study. I went to the state when they put together the studies, and I listened to all the towns, which I found more interesting than what the state was saying, because every town is listing the same exact problems, which means maybe it's not the formula as much as it is the amount of funds that are available, because none of the towns can keep up with the inflation. Maybe it's some of the things that need to be moved out of the Chapter 70 or out of the school budget so that it's not part of the funding formula. So it's something that has to happen, and if you position yourself properly, then you can actually work together with all of your legislative people. I met recently with Ms. Ramos, and we had a pretty productive conversation. We go to the legislative breakfasts on a regular basis, just to keep our name relevant in their minds, so they've always been thinking about us.
Ms. Castronella?
Yes. Yes, keeping in touch with our state representative and our state senator is essential to the job of the select board. Even small things like I contacted Senator Tarr's office to inquire about the Municipal Empowerment Act because our accountant was concerned that we might be losing some of our excise tax, which is one of our biggest local receipts. And you may not think it matters a lot, but our town budget, the actual general government budget, is very tiny, and any loss of any money is a problem for our town government. And he was able to point me to the correct document to check. He says he thinks the new version that's been removed, so I'm following up on that. You just have to keep following up on things. Sometimes you don't achieve really big goals like fixing Chapter 70. Sometimes you have to settle for some small steps. I've recently been working very closely with our town administrator on the head count that we get billed for, and come to find out that may not be correct. The state may have the correct numbers and the local assessment may not be correct. So we're looking into this further. And it's these kind of little steps and these things that help keep our budget in balance. Everything matters. It all matters. So it's a big part of the job is to keep making endeavors to help the town.
Okay, well, I'm just going to break 1 minute. If we're going to stick to the original time, we have time for one more question besides closing statements. So I need to ask, are both candidates for the planning board here? I know you're here, and we'll talk about, is the other candidate here? Okay, well, what we can give, I think, the League of Women Voters rules are is if only one candidate appears for a contested seat, we can't have that debate. So I'll announce the names. We get that. We can take some extra time for select board if the voters want to ask more questions. And if the other candidate comes, then we'll switch to that. So you're on.
Hi. Elaine Timizian Youth. Thank you all for running. I appreciate your time and your professionalism. I was thinking about each of you, and I wondered, and I'm not saying I'm the most participatory people in everything, so I'm putting that out there, but I'm just thinking, like, a lot of Americans don't vote. They just don't. They don't attend meetings. They don't stay informed, but they will stay on an internet site that might be extremely toxic, and they get all their information from that. So I would like to ask you, using your most creative juices, is there any way you think as select board members you could help people that perhaps are holding back on keeping up or getting involved in some way. Is there any way you think we could help people to be more involved in some way, in maybe not exactly an elected position, because it's kind of scary, but something else that would be helpful to the town and helpful to building community?
Okay, Mr. Naves?
Well, I tell you, I think since 2020, when I first was elected to the position, I think the amount of people that have volunteered has incrementally grown since that time period. I think as a select board member, the amount of presence that I have on social media and a lot of these sites can help encourage people to be a part of the local government. Not by being controversial or stirring up the pot, but just by stating some simple facts and making the information known, because it definitely gives them a lot more awareness. And those are the tools that people have and they utilize today. And that's important for us to adapt and to utilize those tools as well. And I think by listing the openings that we have, by encouraging people to participate and the programs that we have, and talking about the benefits of what happens when these people volunteer and how they're going to feel when they help make those decisions to keep Groveland small, or to make a change that everybody really enjoys. And you focus on that, I think will help bring people, and just advocating for it in general, like repeatedly telling people that they should run for the select board, like I did with Becky and Stephanie and countless other people, just to help keep everything diverse and well-rounded.
Ms. Castronellis?
Yes, I think communication, I believe it's one of our select board goals this coming year, because it is a big concern. I mean, not everybody's on Facebook all day. Not everybody's on the town website trying to find information. There's a town Facebook page, but if you're not really a Facebook person, then you're not on that. So how do we keep people involved? We don't have a local newspaper any longer. So we are scrolling through all different things. We're tracking engagement on the town websites, and we're trying to make it easier for everybody to access information. So I know every day of the week people don't wake up and say, I want to know what's going on in Groveland. Okay, I get that. But I mean, What's Up Groveland is kind of a fun show to watch now and then, and I encourage people to tune in on it. I get a big kick. I loved Lee Thomas's Mr. Bag and All. I mean, that was just stuck with me for the next week. I think I talk about it too much. But, nevertheless, yes, communication is big. I've tried having some office hours and allowing Zoom, and it's just unclear right now what is the best way to make sure people are accessing information that they need. I know the Council on Aging is doing a phenomenal job, because I get your newsletters all the time, and I appreciate that. But beyond that, what else can we do? So we are very open to feedback, and we are tracking engagement on the town websites, and we are looking for simpler, easier ways to get information out.
Mr. Haywood?
Excellent question. Only a teacher could ask that question. Communication is everything, and any and all channels, right? We got to go where the people are. If that's What's Up Groveland, excellent show, we'll go there. If it's the town Facebook page, we should go there. If it's the sign out front, we should go there. If it's somebody standing on a milk crate in the parking lot and yelling, we should do that. Anything to get it out. I will say on personal experience that if you don't like the way things are going, get involved, make a change, make a difference. Is it easy? Nope. Is it intimidating? You betcha. Is it worth it? 1,000%. 1,000% worth it, because now you actually have a say, and you're helping to guide what this town is going to be and how we want it to be. And every board I get involved with, I've met with friendly people. Do we agree on everything? Nope. But it's handled with respect, and you're listened to, and you listen, and you come to some level of compromise. And that's what this needs to be.
Thank you. Do any other voters want to ask a question?
Good evening. My name is Alyssa Lee. I had a couple prepared questions, but your conversation started a different one. So there has been a lot of talk about transparency and technical accessibility and following what you hear the people want. So my question is, how do you hold yourselves as individual select board members accountable to hear from all of the community members here in Groveland, including those, as you all have mentioned many times, the small town feel? People might not feel comfortable standing up at the microphone, and that's their prerogative. So what do you do as individuals to make sure you are fully knowledgeable about everybody's views in the town? 36 Garrison's a great example.
Ms. Castronellis?
Well, I always keep myself open to individual emails from residents in town, and I try to respond within 24 hours. I try to keep track of that because I think when somebody sends an email and nobody responds, they think, oh, they don't care. I don't want them to walk away with the feeling that they can't ask a question and get a response. I've gone over to residents' homes to meet with small groups of people. And to me, that's very powerful because they really relax and they share with you what they love about Groveland, sometimes some of the things that have changed that they're not so happy about. And, you know, you learn to say, okay, we've lost some of our quiet rural character. How can we recapture that? Can we recapture it in a small park like Perry Park where you can just sit and read a book? How can we restore some of the things that we've lost and make this town comfortable and fun for everybody? I think the pickleball courts are huge as far as adult activity and the ability to go down there. I'm a tennis player, so there's nothing like hitting a ball back and forth to get rid of a lot of stress. So I enjoyed watching that on Groveland Day, and I think that's something we should definitely promote and get some lights on it as a priority because this is exactly what we should be about, bringing people together with a fun activity. Thank you.
Mr. Haywood?
Yeah, so I think the best approach to it is just be an approachable person. I've had countless conversations in the aisles of Market Basket. My daughter hates it. I pick her up at the Pines and I talk to someone for an hour because they just happen to be there. It's just being an approachable person and not having your mind made up, but to have an open mind and to actually listen and actually hear what that person is saying. And, you know, take it in, think about it, and get back to them. And just be approachable via email, phone call, walking down the street, whatever it is. There's always a time to listen. There's always going to be differing opinions, but it's combining those together that's going to get us where we want to be.
Mr. Naves?
Well, I think being approachable is probably one of the most important things, but also making yourself available. People that call me the dog park guy know that I'm available at the dog park, and I've had multiple people come down there because they know I'm usually there if they want to talk to me. And it's amazing when people are at the dog park what they're willing to talk about. Of course, it doesn't stop there. I'm a big advocate for social media because I utilize it a lot. And when people are afraid to get up to a mic, they're not afraid to type it into the Facebook page and or TikTok or Instagram, all the platforms that I frequent. So it's another means to get more information from people and to act upon that information, even if you don't necessarily post directly in response. I know it brings me to a lot of questions at Town Hall when I see something online. And you get answers that way. And the one thing to remember is no matter how hard you try, you're not going to make everybody happy. 36 Garrison Street is an excellent example of that because I'm involved in the town. I'm here at the town. I get to see a lot of the pre-meetings. And some of this stuff, when you consider what could possibly go there and the fact that they were so willing to work with our Council on Aging, really looked good. But so many people were adamant against it. And I was asking people prior to it even being public. Thank you.
Is there anyone who has not asked a question yet who would like to do so? Okay, I know we have one person who wants to ask a second question.
It's got to be Joe Demore. I guessed it.
And then I think this will
love
be
you.
our last question, so.
Could be my last question in public. Penn and Teller don't have the level of magicianship that our town administrator and department heads have when it comes to formulating a budget. I'm amazed how they come up every year with a balanced budget. The last time I checked, my taxes went up 2.5%. But yet again, we've been able to get things done, as Kathy said, without any override, which is always a possibility at some point in the future. Now, I looked at the line item for the school, which was up 3%, which is more than 2.5%. But obviously, the magicians, because there's a list of needs and wants, what we need to keep our lights on and what we want. And there's this wonderful collaboration in this town where we make things right for the people and we fund things that are important to us. But I feel at some point, it's not inevitable, but it's possible. But at some point during your term, your next term, if there is an override request from any quarter, especially the school system, on a $25 million budget, almost 2/3 is for the school. My question to you is, how would you manage that? I'm not going to ask whether you would support it or not. That would not be fair because there's too many factors involved. And we all, as a community, support our schools. But how would you manage the next request for an override, whether it's the school or from any quarter?
Okay, Mr. Haywood?
Thanks, Joe. It's really going to depend on, for me, what it is. You know, I think the override should be a last resort, not a first resort. Being involved in developing the budget, you can kind of see, and, sometimes we get some one-time savings like we had this year, and we were able to, maybe fund another position or give one department, a little extra bump to get them where they needed to be. But to categorically say that, am I going to be for an override or not, it's really going to depend on what it is. I think we really need to put some pressure on the schools and kind of get them to fall in line. But in the same token as that, we need to put the pressure on our state and federal government to fund what needs to be funded, so we're not looking at that situation. So I guess, in summation, I would say the override for me would be a last resort after every other possibility has been exhausted.
Mr. Naves?
Well, I think the biggest way to manage the override situation is to continue with the progress that we make on our regular budget in terms of minimizing what we spend on everything. What we did with the trash, I know that Kathy had worked on that diligently, and Rebecca finalizing this new contract. A lot of people were happy at first in terms of going to automated pickup, going to a single barrel. But these are all steps that were necessary to help prevent having to have an override. And I think that's probably the biggest way to manage it. But we are going to have an override here in the next maybe 3 to 5 years, and that's going to be for the new Whittier building. So in terms of managing that, I think the people on the building committee are doing a great job in terms of keeping the cost down, because that's what they're focused on doing, while still meeting the needs of the people. Coming up with a new regional agreement, which is another committee that I'm working on, because that helps disperse how those funds are being paid for by the individual towns, which right now is a bit of a disparity. So ironing out that. And then again, just being very, very transparent and open about why and what options we have in terms of an override, services, and that's how we move forward.
Ms. Castronellis?
Yes, I mean, it's not magic what has been happening for the past more than 3 years. It's good financial management. Our town administrator is doing a great job. As the executive board, we are supporting her in those efforts. She keeps us fully informed as to what's going on within departments and what they're asking for and what we're able to deliver. And most important, I think, for the select board is to make sure that when you make decisions, what are going to be the consequences of those decisions? So this was the reason to table the evictions. It's not just about the town getting in trouble with the state, because I don't think that's the biggest issue. I think it's more important that we have people living there that thought they signed a legal lease, and you need to be respectful of that and protect our taxpayers from unnecessary litigation. That's important. Affordable Housing Trust is a huge step, and it deserves a thorough study. The consultant is the first step in that. The consultant does not write a bylaw specific to Groveland. Groveland needs to participate in that. So we all have to be part of that. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's move to the closing statement section. Thank you. And so, let me see, how many, I think I said 90 seconds for closing statements, right? Yeah, so Ms. Castronellis, we're going in reversed order, so you can start.
Okay, thank you. I'm happy to serve. I'm hoping to serve another term. I would like the support to do so. I believe that through my efforts, the town has achieved a much improved financial management. You don't have last-minute overrides or shutdowns of services. We have ample reserve funds to protect us from the unforeseen. So that's what I'll continue to do: prioritize, be responsible, and preserve our town. Thank you.
Mr. Naves?
Yes, I too am be very honored to serve again. I enjoy it. I learn a lot, and I would really just hope that more and more people would take advantage of the fact that I do have an open door policy and come see me, email me, send me a text. It doesn't matter. I'll be more than happy to respond. And as anybody that knows me, I'm very responsive.
Mr. Haywood?
Again, thank you for the time. Thank you for the forum to get involved here. I asked for your vote on May 4th. I asked because I want to make a change. I want to be different. I want to be a new voice. I've shown through my work on the other committees I'm on, I will do the work. I come prepared. I show up on time, have everything in order and ready to go, and that's what I would intend to do should I get elected to the Select Board.
Okay, thank you. So is Mr. Stepanian here?
No.
Okay, so I'm just going to make an announcement about the planning board. The planning board's responsibilities include regulation of land development according to Massachusetts general law, the Town of Groveland zoning bylaw, and the rules and regulations governing the subdivision of land and laying out of ways. The board also grants permits for certain types of land use. 2 candidates are running for 1 5-year term on the planning board, and the candidates are Patrick Molina, an incumbent, and he is present here in the room, and Jim Stepanian, who is not present here in the room. And so under League of Women Voters rules, we cannot hold an actual debate if only 1 candidate is here. So I apologize for the inconvenience. And so thank you to Select Board candidates for your stamina and staying up there all this time, and your voters for asking questions. So there are some positions with no announced candidates.
I have a question.
Oh.
Sorry. If a candidate shows up, why can't, I'm saying, it doesn't have to have a debate, why aren't they allowed to make a statement?
Because that's League of Women Voters rules, and maybe in some other organizations' rules, they can make their statement, but not in our rules. And the town asked me to moderate this debate with these rules. So it's just, we call it an empty chair debate. That's the sort of jargon for it. So again, I apologize for that, but those are our rules. Yeah. Okay, well, let's just, yeah, let me just go on with this. So there's some positions with no announced candidates, and they are Board of Assessors for a 1-year term, Housing Authority for a 5-year term, Board of Health for a 3-year term, and Water and Sewer Commission for a 2-year term. So if anyone here wants to be a write-in candidate, either for those uncontested positions or for one of the contested positions, please speak up now. Now's your chance. You guys, anybody want to be a write-in candidate? Okay. They're running out the door, yeah. All right, so I think we're finished with the debate portion, so your town clerk will answer any further questions and make the announcements. Thank you.
So thank you all for being here this evening. I'd like to extend our thanks to Lynn for volunteering her time and her expertise to moderate the event. She has joined us for several of these forums, and we appreciate her contribution. Thank you to Irene and Laurie for their excellent timekeeping skills. And also finally thank the candidates for participating. I can speak from experience. Being up there can be a bit uncomfortable. So we appreciate your willingness to take part. And thank you for stepping forward and offering to serve the town of Groveland. A few reminders: annual town meeting will be Monday, April 27th at 6:30 at the Bagnell School, located at 253 School Street. A quorum of 100 voters is required to conduct the town's business, so we encourage everyone who can to attend. The town election will be the following Monday, May 4th, here at Town Hall in this room. Polls will be open at 7 a.m. and they will remain open until 8 p.m. The final day to register to vote for anyone who is not currently registered is Friday, April 17th, 5 p.m., and we will be open that day until that time. Please note that you must be registered to participate in town meeting and the election, and to vote in the election. There will be 2 early voting opportunities, Saturday the 25th from 9 to 2 here in Town Hall, and then Tuesday the 28th, again 9 to 2 here in Town Hall. And if you'd prefer to vote by mail, the last day to apply for that is Monday, April 27th. So that's all I have. Thank you, everybody.
Any questions for the town clerk?
Okay.
Okay, we're all done. Thank you.
Thanks.
She did that already. All right, we're all set. Okay, thank you.